The Dodgers have a big problem they need to fix, but they will fix it. Also have 5 reliever trade options for LA. Got some big injury updates. We're also talking Dodgers-Yankees. That's coming up next on Dodgers Dugout Live.
It's time for Dodger baseball.
Welcome to Dodger Stadium.
This is the golden age of Dodger baseball. The Dodgers are building a dynasty.
You guys ready to parade? We got a parade. The Dodgers punch back and head to the championship series. Tony starts the 50-50 club. Mookie Magic. Freeman hits the ball to right field. She is gone. Start the party, Los Angeles. Your Dodgers have won the World Series.
Think blue, bleed blue, and I'm out.
What is up, Dodgers Nation, and welcome to another episode of Dodgers Dugout Live, the #1 Dodgers show and podcast on YouTube. My name is Doug McKain, credentialed member of Dodgers Media. You can follow me on X and Instagram at DMac_LA. If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, hit the like button, join the Discord, have a lot of fun talking to you guys down below in the Discord chat as well, and join the big lead. Of course, every episode of Dodgers Dugout Live starts with the poll question of the show. I asked you guys over on the X, will Tanner Scott be the Dodgers closer in October? And right now, 36% of you say yes, while 64% of you say no. Also, drop your comments of the show. Any questions you have, we'll answer them during the 7th inning stretch. We got Noel, producer Young Lotto, Noise by Noel, rocking with us as he always does. So he's looking for your comments of the show to feature them later. So definitely drop those comments down below. But we've got a lot to get into, so let's get right into it.
Leading off, the hottest story in Dodger baseball.
So the hottest story in Dodger baseball is about their $72 million closer, Tanner Scott. Yesterday, another appearance for Scott that did not go like they were hoping it would go. It did not go swimmingly. Did not look like the guy they gave $72 million to that is supposed to be lights out. That's supposed to be dominant. That's supposed to just absolutely slam the door shut and turn off the lights whenever he gets the opportunity to go out there and pitch for this team. And I've seen a lot of people online, oh, Tanner Scott, this guy is serving so many meatballs, he should get a job at Olive Garden. Oh, Tanner Scott's a double agent from the San Diego Padres. The Dodgers, they got a $72 million bust. Andrew Friedman got a lemon. I'm here to tell you this. I'm going to plant my flag here. Tanner Scott is going to be fine. Tanner Scott is still going to be one of the Dodgers' best relievers this season. Tanner Scott is still going to be the guy that they're going to give the ball to in big moments in October, and he's not as far away as you would think. And trust me, I hear it out there. I hear it out there, and this is someone I saw Dave Vassay's post-game show. He was not happy that he did not speak to the media after. Look, absolutely, he should 100% speak to the media, okay? Kenley Jansen didn't love doing that when he didn't pitch well. Alex Vesia did. This is Los Angeles, okay? If that was Philly, if that was Boston, if that was New York, he's talking to the media. And if you are the highest paid player in that bullpen, yes, more money equals more pressure. But I think that Dodgers fans would appreciate just hearing from the man himself when these appearances don't go his way. So I 100% agree with that. There's no doubt about that. Players should definitely step up to the plate and talk to the media if a appearance doesn't go the way they want it. Having said that, though, if you go back and look at his start yesterday, I do not know what Tanner Scott did to the baseball gods, the BABIP gods. They giveth and they taketh. And yesterday, they certainly taketh. And we're going to kind of look at the Mitch lot half full here. And we're also going to give out some trade possibilities because I just think even if he is really good, they might still need to add a reliever just because of the current state of their bullpen. But let's just go back and look at that start yesterday, that appearance yesterday for Tanner Scott. And he goes into the game and they're using him in a spot. Here's the hit that gets through. First of all, you got Nolan Jones at the plate. And in that moment right there, what I want to see from Tanner Scott in that moment is I want to see the Scott that was one of the best pitchers in Major League Baseball coming out of the pen for the last couple of years. By the way, what is he thinking here? He's contemplative, doesn't look happy. What's going through the mind of Tanner Scott there in that Dodgers clubhouse, in the dugout? What is he thinking right there? I think what he's thinking there is, I got to be me. I got to be the guy that goes out there and challenges hitters in big spots. And he comes in the seventh with a runner on first, strikes out Arias on 3 pitches. 1, 2, 3. And that was a really good sign, because one of the issues with Tanner Scott has been, I think he's been living too much in the zone to the point where he's leaving pitches out of the plate that are getting hit hard, where when he's at his best, he's getting chased because of how nasty that slider is. When he's nibbling, it actually helps him. And against Arias, that was more like the Tanner Scott that we've seen for the last couple of seasons. The guy that has been dominant because he gets a strikeout on 3 pitches, goes with just the slider down and in, comes back out there in the 8th inning and falls behind Noel, and then he reaches on a single. On that one, it's a slider. He leaves it out over the plate, and it wasn't hard contact at all. I mean, we're talking soft contact during that at-bat. I mean, not an explosive hit, a 180 batting average on that one. 180 batting average, 89 off the bat, not a rocket shot. And then Wilson, he reached on that infield single to third on a ground ball that eats Max Muncy up. And on that play to Max Muncy, it's not the easiest play. It really is not. It's a play that he tried to backhand. It took a weird hop. There was some English on it, and it ate him up, right? Was Max Muncy supposed to be out there, though? I mean, I think for defensive purposes, maybe late in the game, you have a lead. I like to see someone else out there late in the game. That would be a solution for me there, because that was a play that was kind of the start to the real blow up, because that ends up as a single. And that play right there, that hit a 100 expected batting average, 84.3 miles per hour off the bat. And then when he walks Schneemann, that's when things start to spiral. And it's not like he was great. I'm not saying he was great, but he wasn't as bad as people are making it seem like he was. People think that he's Tanner Lynn, Tanner Syndergaard, Tanner Kimbrell. He's not. And he walks Schneemann, and when he does that, loads the bases, then he strikes out Hedges on 3 pitches. Slider, 4-seamer, up in the zone, down the zone, and then the single to Jones. It was a 1-2 count. A 1-2 count. And you go with the slider away that he leaves up. Tanner Scott has to use that explosive fastball in the zone and trust that. Also, I did not like the shift in that situation. You're trying to shift him as if he's a pull side hitter right there, and you leave a big hole open, then Andy Pages slips. So all those things combine, and yes, on paper, it was another unsuccessful appearance. He has 3 blown leads in his last 5 appearances. He's given up 10 runs in that stretch. He's given up 4 runs in his first 21, though. So let's not forget. I mean, this is a guy that had allowed 4 runs in his first 21 appearances. And yes, recently it's been bad. A 12.15 ERA his last 7 games. But if you look at the positives, 9 swings and misses yesterday, softer contact, bad defense. I mean, there are signs that, okay, this is a guy that is just having to figure things out. Another thing I want to point out, too, and I said this on the show yesterday, is, you know what would have been nice to have? Evan Phillips, Kirby Yates, Blake Trinan, Michael Kopech, Brusdar Graterol. It'd be nice to have that. You remember last season in June, Blake Trinan had a 6 ERA. And then in October, he's the postseason hero. Well, guess what happens? When all of your high leverage guys are out, when all of your big dogs are out, and those dogs are at the vet right now, right? And Tanner Scott has to go out there, and every high leverage situation, it's either him or you have Ben Kasparius, who's really their second best reliever, or Jack Dreyer. So Tanner Scott doesn't have the luxury of getting a softer landing. Yes, it was against the bottom of the lineup, but a softer landing in a lower leverage situation to try to get the confidence up, to get the pitch execution back to where it needs to be. They're throwing this dude into the fire because he's really the only high-level guy. I mean, Luis Garcia. I mean, do you really trust those guys over a Tanner Scott? You paid him $72 million. He has to perform like that. But let's take a deeper dive here, because I think that I have the root of the problem discovered when it comes to Tanner Scott. And the root of the problem is the fastball and his inability to finish off hitters when he gets two strikes. This season, when he has hitters down to 1-2 counts, a 1-2 count this season, opponents are hitting .350. They're 7 for 20. They're 7 for 20. We'll get to that in a second. They're 7 for 20. And when he's at his very best, if he gets two strikes, it's over. Last year when he was one of the best relievers in the sport, where we had a 1.75 ERA, when he had hitters down to 0-2, it was a 125 batting average, 6 for 48. Last season, when he had opponents down 1-2 in the count, they were hitting 69. 69, giggity. 69. Now that number's up to 350. 2-2 count, hitting 133. I mean, that is how good he was last season. It was lights out, slam the door shut, it's over. This year, though, he gets it 2 strikes. Nolan Jones, perfect example. 1-2 count, single. And in that case, goes slider away. I think he's got to be Tanner Scott. You're going up against a lefty, going up to lefty, pump him with gas. Pump him with heat. And be the dominant pitch that we've seen you be. And then there's scoring position. Scoring position has been an issue for him. In 2025, opponents hitting .290, 9 for 31 with runners in scoring position. And I mean, that's just with runners on. Scoring position, hitting .357, 5 for 14 with a home run and a triple. Bases loaded, 1 for 2, hitting .500. Last year, opponents were lights out. It was a 165 batting average, 14 for 85 with runners in scoring position. This year, that 165 has gone up to 357. So he's not as good with 2 strikes, not as good runners in scoring position. And I think that you look at the fastball in this situation. And now let's take a look at kind of his savant comparisons from this year to last year. 2024, the hard hit rate, 27.5% of the time. This year, that is up to 45.6. So he was in the 99th percentile last year, 19th percentile this year. Last season, 4.7% barrel rate, 92nd percentile. This year, 42nd percentile, 8.8% of the time. Last year, it was so much red, it looked like a murder scene. This year, some blues in there. And the things we feel good about, though, look at the chase percentage, look at the whiff rate, look at the strikeout rate, look at the walk rate. And no one's talking about this when it comes to his walk rate. That was the issue with Tanner Scott, was he would walk too many hitters, right? And when he would walk too many hitters, he would kind of leave stuff out over the plate because they would kind of force him to the zone, this and that. This year, though, we look at his walk rate, and it's in the 12.2%. If you look at his walk rate, it's in the 3. You can lose the graphic. It's in the there you go. It's in the 3%. I mean, look at that. This year, 3% walk rate. That'd be a career best. Last year was at 12.2%. So that's what I look at with Tanner Scott. He's not walking as many hitters, but I think that he's staying too much in the zone and he's not getting as much chase. Last season, 12.2% walk rate, because sometimes you would kind of bait that chase. This year, I think he's pumping too much in the zone. And then there's the home runs. This year, he's given up too many home runs. 4 home runs in 26 games. Last year, 3 home runs in 72 games. I mean, This is a guy that last year, 2 blown saves in 72 innings, 72 games. This year, 5 blown saves in 26 games. So yes, has he been as effective? No, but I think that the root of the problem is I think there's some sequencing that needs to be looked at. I think that from a fastball standpoint, you look at where he is, and kind of the big thing for him is they're squaring up that heater. And I think that you're not keeping hitters off balance because of it. I mean, last year, the run value on his 4-seam fastball was 14. This year, it's -2. Last season, opponents off that fastball, they were hitting nothing. I mean, they couldn't touch that heater, and he was dominant with it. This year, it's not the case. So, I mean, if you want to fix Tanner Scott, you got to look at the 4-seam fastball. You got to look at his money pitches not being as good as they were last season. I still think that, look, I mean, he's not far off. I mean, this is not a situation where you're seeing a massive dip in velocity, a massive dip in spin. I mean, there is a little bit of a dip in velocity. Last year, he averaged 97. This year, he's averaging 96.1. You're looking at the spin, though. The spin's at 25.40 this year. Last year, it was at 25.67. But the big difference, last season, opponents hitting 184 off his fastball. This year, they're hitting 310. Last year, they slugged off his fastball 179. This year, they're slugging 579. So if you want to get the best version of Tanner Scott, you have to get the 4-seam fastball back to being a better executed pitch. But velocity isn't down by that much. Spin rate isn't down. This guy is close to being that dude that Ohtani's gone 1 for 10 against in his career that is dominated. So I think there's a little pressure. I think that he's dealing with that. But I'm not writing off Tanner Scott because the swing and miss is still there. He has this stuff to be dominant, and I think it's just a matter of time. So I want to plant my flag here. I'm sticking with Scott. But here's what Dave Roberts said about Tanner after the game.
It did. It's sour in the sense of, you win the first 2 and you catch a lead going into the 8th inning and you feel good about the game. And I thought we did enough to win, but unfortunately, that 8th inning got away from us. I think with Tanner, obviously, with the Muncie play right there, that was took a weird hop. And then the walk was a walk that you really would like to have back. And I think that the crux is when you get count leverage, we're just not able to put guys away with the strikeout and leaving middle spin sliders in the zone for them to put the ball in play. And I think that when you do that, then sometimes the ball finds holes or some outfield grass. And so that's kind of what I see. And then with Alex, got behind and gave him with a fastball that wasn't his best fastball, and the guy hit a homer. I think that's what it is, and we've got to kind of get to the bottom of it. It's not a usage thing. It's something that we've seen all year, and there's great strike throwing, getting count leverage, but just that last pitch, to put guys away, like he did with Arias. I thought that was kind of, something really impressive, and that's what we got to kind of unlock and be consistent with. But I just think the stuff is good at times, but it's just kind of the finishing off the hitters.
Exactly, that's what it is. And I do think he's living too much in the zone. That's evidenced by that walk rate that's a career low. And just go be who you are, right? Go be who you are. I mean, that's how it is. I mean, what did Rocky Balboa say? What did Sylvester Stallone say, right? You got to just be who you are. It is not who you are, right? He's got to be who he is, and that's a guy that he can nibble, and then he can attack the zone when he wants to. But I'm drawing the line in the sand right now. Pretend this is Rufio, and we're in Hook, and I'm on the Lost Boys, and we're doing that line in the sand, and it's Peter and Rufio. What side are you on? Do you think Tanner Scott's going to turn around? Because I think that he's getting used to pitching in a big market, right? Miami, San Diego, they're not L.A. They're not L.A., right? And it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough because a lot of pressure on you. And I do think that he's got to talk to the media. There's no doubt about that. But it ain't about how hard you get hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. That's what he needs to learn, is that he's building his big market thick skin right now. And I think that is going to bode well in the postseason. So I'm kind of glad that he's facing adversity right now in the season, because I think that to pitch in this market in front of 50,000 Dodgers fans with these expectations, with that contract, it's a little bit of a wake-up call, a little bit of a rude awakening that, hey, you're not chilling playing in front of Marlins fans that come to the game painted as seats, right? Or Padres fans who are established in 2019, 2020, right? I mean, it's very different here in LA. But let me know down below in the comments section. I'm going to read your comments right after the break on Tanner Scott. Very curious to see what you have to say. Got some injury updates that we need to get into that I think are going to be big for this Dodgers pen. We're going to throw off some 5 guys, 5 dudes the Dodgers could trade for. It's very early in the trade season. Just some names for you to think about. That is coming up next on Dodgers Dugout Live. And welcome back. Actually, let's take a look at our Villain Series t-shirts over at gearup.la. Best Dodgers t-shirts in the game. You got the comment shirt over there, Hassan Kim and the gang. You got the Roki of the Year shirt, the Kike We Don't Give a F shirt. Definitely go pick up some new merch at www.gearup.la. And we got some new merch too. Dropping soon. Lots of cool stuff. Best Dodgers gear in LA. Go to gearup.la. All right, some super chats. Glaucoma, $5. All the panic is from people who never watch regular season games until there was a chip. That's interesting. I think the Dodgers have a lot of fans. I think they do. I think there's a lot of expectations. And I think that there is a new crop of Dodgers fans. And hey, there's no right time to become a fan of a team, right? Everyone's fandom started because of one game or one player. So welcome to the fandom. But I don't know if it's that. What do you guys think about that? I'm interested to see. What do you think about that one, Noel? Do you think there's a little bit of that?
Oh man, like you said, it's such a big fan base, but I do think people are just so passionate about the team that usually it leads to. I think Dodger Nate tweeted like, when my team loses like one game out of all the games in the season, how like everybody's just so depressed. I think there's a lot of that going on. You just want every game to be a good one. Yeah,
it's baseball. I mean, your happiness is dictated by what a team does for a 6-month stretch of the year, right? And there's 162 chances to be happy or sad, and a baseball team dictates that, and that's what we love about this sport for sure. And there's a lot of decisions that are ridiculed and they're questioned, but here we go. We got LSU, but Jones, Muncy still has enough to be a Dodger. Okay, we got to BL. I realized he's dealing with pitching issues, but dealing with positional players. Roberts gets an F this far, but pushing every wrong button. I wouldn't say every wrong button. I disagree with that. But the defense needs to be better, that's for sure. I mean, just look at yesterday's game. You had Andy Paez made a big throw to get out Ramirez. I mean, sometimes your defense can be the difference in your starts, in your appearances, but these pitchers will tell you they need to go out there and they need to execute and they need to be at their best as well. And they take these Rocky appearances very hard. Justin Castillo, Tanner will be better than Devin Williams for us, SMH. Yeah, I mean, that's not saying too much, but yeah. I mean, yesterday I said that he was the Devin Williams of Craig Kimbrell's in the last couple of starts, but really you look at it, I'm telling you, he's not as far off. I'm just trying to give you guys the facts of where he's at. Mr. Summer Obe, I'm willing to give some leash to Scott, but 5 for 9 blown, actually 10. But what have you done for me lately, as Janet Jackson would say? Yeah, as Vince Scully would say, it's a what have you done for me lately sport. Okay, let's keep it moving here on Dodgers Dugout Live. Some quick updates before we get into some relievers the Dodgers could trade for. Michael Kopech did not have a great rehab appearance. He didn't get through one inning. He threw 22 pitches, just 8 for strikes. Seth Brown hit a 415-foot home run off of him. He did get a strikeout, but then threw 11 straight balls, and the command has been issued. The command continues to be an issue for Michael Kopech. He threw 19 straight balls in his first rehab appearance on May 8th. This one, he had 11. He did bounce back to strike out the last hitter he faced, but then was taken out of the game. So it's been a up and down rehab for Michael Kopech. And that's the first guy that's in line to come back out of the guys that are out. So hopefully this is just him having to work on something down at the minor league level, and they're just trying to build him up and stretch him out. And then he's a veteran at this point, I guess, where he's at in his career. I mean, he's been through this before. So the hope for me is that you get to the big league level and the light kind of turns on and things start to click. We've seen that, right? You can't take too much out of these. You got to take rehab start numbers with a grain of salt the size of Bruce Bochy's head. But having said that, it doesn't fit with, oh, okay, the bullpen is overused and overtaxed, and then the guys that are coming back aren't pitching well. So yeah, from a confidence standpoint, it doesn't make you feel that great, but that's where he's at right now. Now, as far as the other guys, Blake Trinan and Kirby Yates, they have started to throw. Evan Phillips, as we talked about this week, he's the concerning one because when he went down, Evan Phillips was saying it wasn't a big deal. Dave Roberts was saying it wasn't a big deal. Felt like it was going to be the minimum. But after he's gotten that PRP shot, he has not bounced back. And he has not started a throwing program. He has not picked up a baseball. So that is concerning for me. We'll see. And if Evan Phillips does not come back, I think 100% the Dodgers need to add a starting pitcher or a reliever if you want to bounce one of these starters into the bullpen as an insurance policy at the trade deadline. I certainly believe that if you're truly all in for 2025, you have to be active. And if you get early reports on some of these guys that you're expecting back and you're not entirely sure that they will be back, then you have to make moves accordingly. Now, a positive update on Roki Sasaki is Dave Roberts said that he's starting his throwing program this week and that Roki is targeting a return in late June, and they're describing it as a shoulder impingement, but he just never looked good this season as far as being comfortable out there mechanically. He's been grinding through it when he's been on the mound, but he has not been that guy pumping 98, 100 miles per hour. The splitter at times has been lethal, but I'm hoping that they've tweaked some things with his mechanics where when he comes back, it almost is a complete reset. And his Rookie of the Year season starts when he's back. And that you can't judge him on him just basically being a good soldier and going out there and pitching because this rotation needed him to do that. So I'm hoping that that's the case. Dave Roberts said that I do feel like it's a good time to start to be able to do that, and that's look at his delivery. So I want to make sure that I'm fully healthy and to be able to address anything. And this is Roki's also saying that this is a good time for a reset, right? He wants to be able to address anything that he's had, and he wants to be able to fine tune some things that lead to a better performance. And for him, I think he doesn't love this because he wants to go out there and pitch, but this could be almost on a smaller level what we saw for Yamamoto last season, where Yamamoto went down. He missed significant time, was almost out for 3 months. But when he came back, he was really, really good. And when he was out, they looked at a lot of stuff. They reviewed his starts. They kind of looked at pitch sequencing, and he was still really good, had his flashes. I mean, against the Yankees in the Bronx, he was absolutely incredible. But I think that getting that first taste of big league action, then hitting the reset button, and then going back, I think it's going to bode well for Roki. So that's kind of where they're at as far as the pitching goes. And I look at this team right now, and Clayton Kershaw yesterday, from a pitching standpoint, I think he's going to be serviceable. I think that there is a little bit of room for some improvement as far as his performance this season. 2014, Clayton Kershaw ain't walking through that door. Hell, even 2021, Clayton Kershaw's probably not going to be walking through that door. But yesterday, 5 innings, 6 hits, 1 run, 3 strikeouts, 2 walks. It's now 26 strikeouts away from 3,000 Ks. And how about this? For the true blue Dodgers fans that have lived through the Kershaw era, knowing how great he's been, he's allowed 0 or 1 run in 47.2% of his career starts. That's 204 of 432. It's the highest percentage among the 310 pitchers that have debuted in the modern era that have made at least 300 starts. The next closest is Chris Sale at 40.9%. So 47.2% of the time, Clayton Kershaw is allowed 0 or 1 run in his starts. And that's just incredibly dominant. I mean, he's a living legend. He's a walking statue. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer. But having seen his start yesterday, it does feel to me that this could be it. I think that this most likely is going to be the last dance for Kersh. If they go on to win the World Series, if he gets to 3,000, if he finishes healthy, I think that look at yesterday's start. There's a lot of hard contact on that slider. There were some big defensive plays. Andy Paez throws out Ramirez. You get a big double play from Mookie Betts. Some big defense that saved him in some situations. But he's given up a lot of hard contact since he's been back. I still think the velocity is good enough to where the feel for the sliders there, the curveball is still there. I think you want to see him use that curveball to righties more and kind of touch the corner of that zone. Got a big strikeout via the splitter. But it feels like to me, this is going to be it for Kersh. I mean, I don't think that he's going to stay on and just be a role player. Like, I don't see him being Vince Carter on the bench, right? I don't think he's going to be Albert Pujols, the designated hugger, right? I think that he only wants to play when he knows he can compete. And I thought that yesterday was kind of a glimpse into the Kersh that we're going to get this season, which is a guy that is crafty, that's a competitor, that is going to have the occasional vintage Kersh moments and vintage Kersh starts where, look, I wouldn't be surprised to see a double-digit strikeout game in there somewhere for sure, especially on a night where he's got that feel for his slider. But it doesn't feel like he is thinking 2, 3, 4 years. I mean, this is a guy that has already made it clear that the reason why he wanted to come back was because he didn't want to finish his career as an injured player. So I think if he stays healthy and he contributes, I think he could hang them up potentially. And I think this team needs him right now, but it makes you wonder long-term, if everyone's healthy, is he a part of the postseason mix? Kind of what does that look like? I mean, those are fair questions, but as long as Clayton Kershaw is throwing a baseball for Los Angeles Dodgers, makes me happy, gives me joy. He's done that for all of you for so many years, and it was good to see him have a solid start yesterday, and here was him talking about his start.
Yeah, I mean, the first inning was pretty rough. I think Andy making that throw, getting that guy out of second was huge for me. Limited the damage, and, I'm fighting some stuff mechanically and different things. I was able to make a few pitches here and there to get through 5, but obviously wasn't pitching good enough to be able to stay in the game, which, makes the bullpen have to throw more innings, and, sometimes stuff like this happens. So, frustrating for sure, but I think at the same time there's some progress still, more reps, and overall to only give up 1 run and pitch that bad is a good thing. So just on to the next one. Yeah, there's just some stuff I need to just hammer down. I think I've created some bad habits, and just with not feeling my best, I think I created some bad habits last year. So and then I haven't pitched in a while. I haven't pitched in a long time. So there's just some growing pains, I think, with the first few, and physically feel great. Just got to keep throwing and figuring it out. I mean, I think at the end of the day, you just, when you're going good, you throw a bad pitch, you can make the adjustment on the next one. And right now, the adjustment's just not happening fast enough. So that just comes with time and reps, and I hope, and we'll just keep doing that.
So I love to hear that. I mean, to say that his start was bad, it shows you the standard that he has for himself. And the truth is, he's settled down in a massive, massive way. I mean, he was close to giving up a lot of runs in that first inning. It looked like he was going to get chased. He was on the ropes there. He gave up 2 hard hit balls. He walked a couple of batters, and then he gave up just 1 run, but he did throw 26 pitches to get those first 3, but he did settle down. After that, last 4 innings for Kersh yesterday, give just 4 hits, didn't walk a batter, and it only took him 48 pitches to get through those final 4 innings. So strikeout numbers haven't been great. The swing and miss hasn't been elite, but I do feel like this is a guy that is just so appreciative and happy to be out there. I would have loved to see what those bad habits were. I mean, please, maybe I'll get a chance to ask him what he thinks some of those bad habits were that he developed last time he pitched, but almost feels like a Kobe Bryant situation, right? Kobe tears his Achilles and then the rotator cuff, and then he has all these injuries, and then he just doesn't want to go out like that, right? He want to go out on his own terms, but he also didn't want to be like old dude at the club, right? Like he didn't want to be dude like unk status when he's just not really contributing at an elite level. And I think that will be the case for Clayton Kershaw. I think that you're going to go out knowing that he is playing the video game on story mode, right? Dude's got nothing to prove to anyone. He's cemented his legacy. But I like that he's contributing at this level right now when the rotation needs him the most. And I think I kind of just got this feeling yesterday, like, oh, wow, this really could be it. I mean, this really could be the last year. So I'm going to savor every pitch, every start. I hope I'm wrong. I hope he pitches 5 more seasons and wins 5 more Cy Youngs, right? But I'm just trying to keep it realistic. And I'm glad to see that he looks healthy out there and he's contributing the way that he is. But all right, guys, so I got my high five today. And this is just the first round of some possible trade candidates that the Dodgers could pursue if they're looking to add to their bullpen. Now, if everyone returns, you don't need to do this. And Ben Kasperius has emerged as one of the best relievers in the sport. We'll spend a good amount of time on Ben Kasperius possibly tomorrow. And if Yates comes back, Trinan comes back, Brusdar comes back, Evan Phillips comes back, Kopech comes back, you're going to be just fine. But is there anyone out there that's followed this team for the last decade plus that thinks that every single one of these guys is going to be able to stay healthy? Maybe one of these years, the Dodgers will be on the right side of injury luck. But we got to start the process because position player wise, I think they're going to be fine. I mean, there is some stuff they could do for sure. And there's a possibility of that. But reliever is kind of the most common one that you can just pick a dude up without having to commit long-term to a contract. And let's take a look at some names. So here's my high five today. 5 relievers the Dodgers could trade for at the deadline.
The High Five. D-Mac's Top 5.
So the first guy we're going to talk about, and this is in no order, but Kyle Finnegan. So Kyle Finnegan is $5.2 million this year as he enters free agency. So he's going to cost essentially nothing for this team by the time the deadline rolls around. And he leads the National League in saves. From a stuff standpoint, this would be the move, I think, if you felt like Evan Phillips and Michael Kopech weren't going to be available. That if Michael Kopech and Evan Phillips were not going to be available, or they struggled, or Blake Trinan, just kind of one of the big ones, like one of the big high leverage dudes, if 1 or 2 of those guys are gone, then I think that this is kind of the big game hunting guy that you can kind of go after. I mean, this season, a 2.41 ERA, 3.38 expected ERA, 2.37 FIP, 15 saves. Kyle Finnegan is a difference maker. And from a contract standpoint, that's what you have to look at from Andrew Friedman's point of view. They don't want a guy that has a lot of team control because you have to give it more assets. This guy is entering free agency after this season. So Kyle Finnegan, that would be really the top choice for me. Let's talk about Dennis Santana, though. So Dennis Santana is having himself a really, really good year. A really, really good year. And, of course, Dodgers legend Dennis Santana. He's really figured things out with the Pirates. A 1.54 ERA, 23 1/3 innings, a 2.74 ERA plus this year, a 0.857 whip. Doesn't strike out a ton of dudes. You guys know his repertoire, how he goes after things. And the Pirates are a team that you kind of would want to poach. A team that we know you got Paul Skeens and you got some of these other guys that are high-level talent that you don't expect them to move, but bullpen pieces they would definitely move. Now, I think with Santana, the thing with him is his expected numbers aren't great. He has a 286 expected batting average. That's in the 12th percentile. From a hard hit percentage, it's about league average. Bail percentage is below league average. So all that is to say he is due for some regression. But I think that the Dennis Santana element of it is, I think you kind of look at the way he kind of goes about it. As a righty, he's not that dominant. So it's not exactly what the Dodgers profile when it comes to going after elite relievers, elite bullpen pieces. Next guy, though, this is kind of the wild card. The wild card is David Bednar. Now, David Bednar, his stock has dropped. But you probably went to Robinhood to buy some of that stock recently because he's been better. And David Bednar is an all-star closer. When he was right, he was as elite as it got. And I think the question for him is availability, one. And look, even this month, a 4.86 ERA. He was better in April. I mean, he came back from AAA, had a 1.5 ERA in April. But the thing about Bednar, though, is from a stuff standpoint, the way that the Dodgers look at kind of the results versus the expected is a 3.71 expected ERA and a 32.4% strikeout rate. It's in the 93rd percentile. He has a 97 mile per hour average fastball. It's in the 89th percentile. So he's looked better. He has a $5.9 million salary and another year of arbitration. So he could draw some interest. I mean, last season you took on a Michael Kopech, who was a high strikeout guy, but also had a high ERA, was a high velocity guy, still had one more year of team control. David Bednar, if they were willing to trade him, that would be a really interesting name to look at. And then how about Cam Boozer? Cam Boozer could be this year's Michael Kopech, a 5.40 ERA, but a 3.17 expected ERA. So that's another guy. You remember him, his time with the Red Sox, and he's had a good season pitching for the White Sox in a bad situation. He's another guy that can pump gas. I mean, 80th percentile in fastball velo, 96th percentile, 97th percentile in expected batting average at 184. Does give up some hard contact. If you look at his pitch mix, he's a big four-seam fastball sweeper guy. So that's what the Dodgers love too. So let's say Anthony Bonda, Alex Vesia, some of the lefties, they don't love the way their year is trending. That's a name to consider as well. Another guy, talked about Ryan Helsley on this show a good amount as well. So Ryan Helsley, he's on the Cardinals, and we know that that could be attached with someone else. But Ryan Helsley is another guy that is going to be a free agent after this season. That's something that the Dodgers look at the most, really, I think, when it comes to relievers, is they don't want to commit to a guy long-term. It was already rare they were going to pay a guy, but he's still pumping gas, bro. I mean, 90th percentile fastball velo, averaging 99 on the heater. Only issue with him is they're hitting that heater at a 368 batting average clip. So a 368 batting average off that four-seam fastball, you can fix that. Four-seam slider guy, he just looks, sounds, feels like an electric Dodger. So that would be my 5 right now. And we're going to dive deeper into it as we get closer to the trade deadline. I'm going to have Buster Olney on the show next week, Bob Nightingale, lots of names that we're going to get into. So definitely, for sure, look into that. But, yep, guys, coming up next, it's all about you guys. That was my high 5 for today. But I'll hear from you guys. Tell me about Tanner Scott. Tell me about how you feel about your Dodgers. Tell me how you feel about these trades you're dropping down there. That's coming up next here on the 7th inning stretch.
The 7th inning stretch.
All right, we got Martin Troop, D-Mag. We believed in Tanner Scott because of your energy for him this summer. LOL. Well, we'll see. We'll see, man. I'm trying to be positive here. We got Coach Dante 24. What about Mason Miller and Aroldis Chapman and Nolan Arenado? Yeah, Mason Miller, the thing about him is the velocity, and he just under so many years of team control that the commitment that you have to make would be extremely high for sure. So that's kind of the big issue with that one for sure. We've got Bilal K. The most famous play of Dave Roberts was a stolen base, yet he doesn't value that art. 3 potent base stealing threats in Kim, Luis Robert Jr. or and Shohei would be serious problems come the postseason. Yeah, I mean, Bilal K. I absolutely agree. I mean, I think about him, he's having a bad year, but you're going to have to use those base running threats. And we saw last season, Shohei's base running wasn't great in the postseason as far as being a major impact, but it led to an injury as well. But Hassan Kim, that's the guy. T-Rex, D-Mac, what are your vibes for the Yankees series? How do you think it will shake out? It's a good question. I mean, you've got Gonsolin, you've got Knack, you got Yamamoto, you got a Yankees team that is coming off a a loss to the Dodgers in the World Series, and you got a Dodgers team that's looking to get right. I mean, you go 3-3 on a road trip against above 500 teams. Most teams are going to take that, right? But it's a little sour taste in the Dodgers' mouth just because of how that last game played out. But I think this series, and I was going to drop my prediction tomorrow, but I have a good feeling about this series because I think the Dodgers are in a place that a lot of good teams get to, especially when you're perennial contenders, where you kind of need these in-season big blockbuster matchups, these postseason feel matchups, just to get the best out of yourselves. And I think the Dodgers are going to be up for the challenge. Nationally televised games throughout the weekend. The Yankees coming to town. We know what Chris Taylor said about the Yankees and them crapping down their leg, and Joe Kelly saying that it was a mismatch from the start, and Miguel Rojas saying they were sloppy on defense, and all the kind of friction between these two teams. But look, I look for the Dodgers to really pick things up offensively and carry this team. And I have a lot of faith that this is going to be a nice little statement series for the Dodgers, just knowing that you're in this rough 29-game stretch against above 500 teams. Well, you got to take advantage of those above 500 matchups when you're at home at Chavez Ravine. So I have a good feeling about this. I got the Dodgers taking 2 out of 3 games. Jen, D-Mac, will you be at the Yankees game Friday? Yes, Jen, I will be there. If you guys see me rocking a Dodgers Nation hat, probably a quarter zip, probably a vest, probably a button up, and come say what's up to your boy. I'll be walking the concourse for sure. Might be on the pavilion too at some point. Ellis Shiva Jones, D-Mac, how about rushing at third base from time to time? Interesting idea, but hasn't really gotten that much run there. He's up here to be a catcher. I mean, he's up here to be a catcher. The next position that you would see Dalton Rushing play would be left field, not third base. And then after that, ideally, he'd be a first baseman, giving Freddie Freeman some days off. We got Ellis Shiva Jones, D-Mac. If we're desperate for arms, why not sign Joe Kelly or turtleneck guy Honeywell? I love that, turtleneck guy. That's his new nickname. I'll give you a nice little let's go Dodgers for that one. Look, I mean, beloved Dodgers, the Mariachi Joe mural is still up at Dodger Stadium. I still have a great appreciation and affinity for what he means to Dodgers culture. But the issue with Joe Kelly is the fact that you do not have the optionality to send him up and down. And that's the issue with him, is that you don't have that. And the same goes for Brent Honeywell. But it could come down to, hey, if you do get multiple injuries and that continues and you're later in the season and you need an arm, then maybe it is a possibility. Martin Troop, D-Mac, do you think better defense behind the pitching staff would help eliminate some of these pitching injuries? It's a good question. Look, the defense overall, I mean, hasn't been elite, but the truth is when it comes to pitchers' injuries, it's about going 100% every single pitch and going max velocity, max spin, and that's the truth of it. And it starts at the youth level. But D-Mac, it's time to trade Glass now. Moreno 818. Yeah, I don't think you're going to trade him when right now the injuries are piling up and the contract is still up. He's in the second year of that $136.5 million extension. Maybe if you pitch well for a couple months, you can find some takers there. But their best bet, I think, if I'm the Dodgers, I am finding any way to make it where Glass now is almost pitching for the last 2+ months of the season, because if he's not available for the postseason, then that's a bad contract. Period, point blank. If Tyler Glass now is not a top 3 starter for the Dodgers in October, that will go down as a bad signing. And it doesn't matter what he does in March, April, June, July, August, September. None of that matters, because he was supposed to be a guy that was a top end, get the ball in a big game type dude. And if he's not available in those situations, you can't say that was a good signing. So whatever they have to do to keep him available for those situations, they should do. We have got...
Doug, real quick. Sorry, man. We got some breaking news.
Let's hit it.
The Dodgers are acquiring reliever Alexis Diaz from the Reds.
Alexis Diaz from the Reds. Wow. That is what we love here. Some breaking news at Dodgers Nation. And look, the cool thing about this is you get a guy that is a pretty known commodity. And Alexis Diaz, and this is from Joel Sherman and John Heyman from the New York Post that's reporting this. Alexis Diaz, Yes, we know that he's had a pretty awful season, but he's a former All-Star. He's a former All-Star that back in 2023 had a 3.07 ERA in 67 and 3/3 innings. Followed that up with a sub-4 ERA season, and this year he struggled. A 12 ERA, a minus 0.5 WAR in just 6 innings. He's pitched in 6 games, a 14.24 FIP, the ERA plus down to 39 this season. But you get a guy that you feel like you put him in your organization, and the Dodgers, they can find a way to hopefully get him anywhere close to where he was when he was pitching like an all-star. I'm excited about this. I will wait to see what the details of the move are, and I'm sure we'll do another video about this later when some more information comes out. But this is pretty exciting stuff. I mean, when this guy's right, and last couple of years ago we saw that, well, he was an impact pitcher. And the Dodgers clearly are indicating here that he could be, for sure, your classic churn and burn, OKC Express, whatever it may be, type of guy that you bring up and you DFA at some point. Or it could be a better version of that, a guy that you can get back to being what he was, and then he could help you. He still has 3 options left. And this is a classic Dodgers move right here. A classic Dodgers move. They need to find out what the hell is going on with it, though. This guy has had a very, very serious fall off. I mean, when he was at his best, he was striking out hitters at a 32.5% clip. And then in 2023, a 30.1% clip. That has dropped down to a 9.1% strikeout rate and a 15.2 walk rate. I mean, that is a major, major drop in strikeout stuff, a major drop when it comes to walk rate. You definitely want to first and foremost address that any way you possibly can. And then you just kind of look at the stuff. You look at the injuries, right? I mean, a lot of the times when a guy that's still in his prime years, his success is on a major decline, a lot of times it's dealing with the injuries. But you look at kind of the fastball velocity, 2022, 2023, he's sitting at 95, close to 96. This year, that's down to 93. So they got to find a way to get his velocity back up. The pitch mix is essentially the same, big 4-seam slider guy. And then, hey, can Mark Pryor put him in his in the pitching lab and come out with something special? Because there's been some L's lately. There's also been some victories lately as well. But let's check out, see what else people are saying about it online. Let me know, what is your reaction to the Dodgers trading for Alexis Diaz? And let's see if we can get the package. We've got Robert Murray tweets out, the Dodgers are acquiring reliever Alexis Diaz in a trade with the Reds. Sources say Mike Villani, a 13-round pick by the Dodgers in 2024, is going to the Reds. So there you go. You're giving away a 13th round pick. That's definitely not breaking the bank for sure. And makes you wonder, Evan Phillips. Can the Dodgers do anything to help Alexis Diaz? And can you get excited about that? Because, yeah, at one point, this was a dude. This was a guy that was great. So, yeah, that's really interesting stuff. We'll do some more digging on this one to see what else we can find out about kind of where he's been last couple of seasons and why he's struggled so much. Because there was some stuff he was dealing with, and he was sent down to AAA. So, yeah, Dodgers, they acquire Alexis Diaz. Interesting stuff. All right, guys, so keep dropping some comments down below. Mike Villani, future All-Star. I like that one. We'll see. Mike Villani, future All-Star from Yeah Player. Garrett Lone Lee, can Vesia just not throw 91 miles per hour down the middle? Villani is a beast. WTF from Matt Leiter. Got to give up something to get something. And right now, the biggest need really is trying to address pitching. Nando, 390 Reds fleece the Dodgers. Christopher Lee, Lord, we actually gave someone up for him. LSU Jones, D-Mac Doc will give Diaz a huge hug on the mound. It's a comment of the show. Give him the Johan Ramirez treatment. Give him the Johan Ramirez treatment. Give you some love for that one. Give you a let's go Dodgers. I'll give you a Dodger for life. All right, let's do some more here, guys. What about Snellzilla? Is he a bust? Jesse, he's throwing again, so we'll wait and see on that one. Another guy that's been out. Ralph Garcia, Yamamoto, Ohtani, and Sasaki will choke. Oh, come on, man. You're getting banned for sure. We got Master Blaster. We are still... Well, let me make sure I ban Ralph Garcia right live on the show. Ralph Garcia, I hope you like this party. This is a block party. You will never comment on this thing again.
That's crazy.
You got blocked forever. Go create a burner account.
Blocked by McKain.
Yeah, no, you can't bring that into here. All right, let's go. We've got when will the Snell get his bruh meme? Yeah, we're still waiting on that. Yeah, we're still waiting. By the way, should we do the Dodgers designated Twitter? Do we still have it?
Yeah, we still have it, man. Best social media on the way.
Keep going down below in the comment section. Drop your comments for sure. We'll talk some more Alexis Diaz, but let's hit some designated Twitter, the best of Dodgers social media.
Designated Twitter, the best of Dodgers social media.
All right, what we got, Noel? First one, Gary Sheffield Jr. The Mets are getting San Diego Padres Juan Soto.
Finish him.
Wow. Tough one. Hey, it's still early. We'll see what happens. Lindor got off to a really slow start and then really picked things up, was an MVP candidate. So I still think that he's going to be fine. What else we got? We've got Dekland. Always we'll talk about October, although he's had a lot of great outings. People never bring it up. Bottom line, he's the greatest pitcher of this generation. Anyone who says different can go argue with a wall. Nice job, Dekland. Fire take right there. All right, what else we got? Let's see. We have Dave, bro's wearing baseball shorts. This was hilarious. Look at these shorts right here. Look at these shorts. I mean, this reminds me of those Chicago White Sox, type of shorts that they were wearing back in the 70s. But I don't know, man. This can't be a thing. I mean, we know basketball went to sleeve jerseys and they look terrible. We do not need to see baseball players go to shorts. Who wears shorts? Check this out. This is hilarious. All right, what else we got? We have Haesung Kim Muse. Haesung Kim gets squeezed by Will Smith after he tries to make room for Yoshinobu Yamamoto. This is hilarious. Look at these guys playing around. Everyone loves Haesung Kim. That'd be a good shirt too. Everyone loves Haesung Kim. Big smile. This is awesome. LSU Jones says this is hideous. Yeah, this is good stuff, man. And it really does feel like he's being embraced. And I think that's a part of why he's had some early success, because of how his teammates have kind of taken him under their wing and made it an easier process for him. All right, what else we got? Let's see. We have, this is from Cindy. I find Dodgers and meme parallels everywhere. This is awesome. I love this meme. It's like the depressed kind of werewolf meme looking into the dark clouds. And then it's Mookie Betts kind of looking on to the field. And this is good stuff. I don't think Mookie was that sad, but here we go. What else do we have? We've got Brandon says, Chris Taylor says he doesn't regret saying the Yankees thing. Yeah, we'll talk about that in the walk-off. What else we got? Let's see. We've got Yoshinobu at age 26. This is from Guggenheim Partners, 3-time Sagamore Award winner, 3-time Pacific League MVP, 3-time Triple Crown, the MPB, 1-time Japan Series champion, 1-time Olympic gold medalist, 1-time WBC champion, 1-time World Series champion, serial winner. I like that one. That's a comment of the show for sure. We got Cindy, see you in June at Dodger Stadium. Sandlot movie night at Dodger Stadium. That's going to be pretty awesome. That's going to be pretty cool. I always wonder in Sandlot, though, why don't they just go and knock on his door and it would have basically ended everything. He would have gotten the ball for them and the movie would have been over. No, but obviously it was a great adventure. Love the Sandlot. All right, let's see what else. We've got, oh, this is cool. So Chris Taylor, he just posted this less than an hour ago, and it was his goodbye message to the Dodgers. It's a picture of him, his wife, Mary, their daughter, and he wrote, I'm beyond grateful to have been a part of the Dodger family for the past 9 years. It was a hell of a run with plenty of peaks and valleys, and I wouldn't change a thing. I especially want to thank all of my coaches, teammates, and Dodgers fans. Playing for this team has been a dream come true, and I have created friendships and memories that will last a lifetime. Looking forward to starting a new chapter in red across town. That last part, in red. I don't know about that. But nice. Got to give love to Chris Taylor. And that brings us to the walk-off.
The walk-off.
Hits the ball to right field. She is gone.
So speaking of Chris Taylor, he was asked about his comments about the Yankees that he made on Mookie's podcast, where he said the Yankees had S'd down their leg, if you know what I mean. And it was during their fifth inning meltdown in Game 5, where Aaron Judge dropped the ball. Anthony Volpe made a bad play. Garrett Cole still hasn't covered first base. And Chris Taylor was asked if he would walk those comments back if he regretted saying it. And he said, honestly, I didn't think I was saying anything super critical to me. I think if you would have asked them, they would have said the same thing. That's kind of how I felt about it. Wow. That's hilarious. He said, I didn't mean anything offensive by it. I didn't mean any offense, but to me, it was just like, hey, I was just kind of stating a fact. Wow. So you're basically saying, yeah, the Yankees would have been like, hey, we crapped down our leg. They would have been, yeah, we would have said that for sure about ourselves. I'm pretty sure they wouldn't have, but still love that he said that. He said, obviously, like, I guess we were caught up in the celebration a little bit too at that point. I think all of us were maybe speaking a little more freely than we would in a typical interview, but I don't take back what I said. I think I was just telling the truth. I didn't mean any offense by it. I guess you could say I could see how people would take it personally. I could see how they would maybe put a chip on their shoulder, but to me, it just kind of was what it was. So, yeah, wow. Chris Taylor doubling down. Aaron Judge actually responded to it as well. Aaron Judge said, you're really not trying to look much into it. I feel like they're big-time players that played every day or played in the big games. They really didn't say too much. So, interesting. That's a little something from Judge. Said, I feel like they're big-time players that played every day or played in the games. They really didn't say too much. He's basically saying, hey, Chris Taylor, you crapped down your leg every time you had at bat, okay? Because you didn't do anything. He's basically trying to say that. I'm not saying that's what happened. I'm saying that's what he's trying to say. And it was a lot of those guys that really didn't do too much. So I didn't pay too much attention to it. They can say what they want. When it all comes down to, we didn't win. If you win, you can say what you want. We didn't win. We kind of just had to take it on the chin and prepare ourselves for next season. So yeah, look, I was always told by my Little League coach, if you lose, say a little. If you win, say less. In this case, though, pop off. Who cares? Whatever. CT3 said what he said. And if you're gonna, my whole thing is, if you're gonna say it, just stand by it. That's what takes with everything. If you're gonna say something, always stand by it. All right, some more comments down below. Madrid, what up? D-Mac told Noel already, but the Dodgers, yeah, absolutely. We got Garrett Lonely. D-Mac, do you think Ohtani would be better in the bullpen? Absolutely not, because you saw, I mean, through splitters and sweepers at an elite level in fastballs, and he can go 6, 7, 8 innings. I mean, if he's on his best day. So until he fails as a starter, then I wouldn't consider him for the bullpen. And then you consider just the routine aspect of it and how that would be impacted as well. So that's another thing too. BC, another Freeman walk-off would be hilarious. That'd be the best. That would be awesome. The first walk-off grand slam in World Series history. LSU with Jones. D-Mac, I want a bobblehead of Judge dropping the ball. Bilal K, I want to make a point that I remember when teams wanted Bobby Miller and the Dodgers didn't know to trade him. Now we get him for nothing. This has to stop. Hey, if you go back a couple years ago, did I not say that the Dodgers should have traded Bobby Miller for Dylan Cease? I mean, look, parades over prospects. Beer Sama, definitely need either Arenado or McMahon by the trade deadline. Dew says, as far as now, Padres Nation is laughing up their sleeves over the Snell Scott predicaments. It's still early. They're laughing in May. Let's see if they're still laughing in October. Pretty sure they're going to be crying in October on their way to Cancun. We've got CC. I want to see Kim too, but I have a feeling Dave won't play him against the Yankees. Matt Leiter, Roki, I believe, fleeced the Dodgers. He must have been aware of his arm problems before signing. No, because the dude's getting paid $6.5 million on a minor league contract. Worst case scenario is not even that bad. So I disagree with that. I mean, he's going to be just fine. Let's give Roki some time for sure. All right, guys, so that's going to do it for this episode of Dodgers Dugout Live. We'll probably be back later. We'll do some more on the Alexis Diaz trade. Hope the Dodgers can get him right, make him serviceable. They're going to need some more arms during this stretch. Like I did say, they were going to sign some arms during this 29-game stretch, so could be a nothing burger. They could find something. We'll see what they found. The fact they did give up a 13th round pick, and it's not just cash considerations, and you still have a lot of injured relievers, makes me think that they think there's some chance that they could unlock him to some capacity. But that is going to do it, guys. Thank you for rocking with us here on Dodgers Dugout Live, the #1 Dodgers show and podcast on YouTube. My name is Doug McKain. You can follow me on X and Instagram at DMac_LA. And until next time, think blue, bleed blue, and I'm out.